Hello and welcome back. Today I'm talking about the brand new Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. I have detailed timestamps as well as additional information listed down below in the description box in case you wanted to skip ahead to anything. And with all of that out of the way, let's get started. Good morning. Cheers. It is 5:38. Today I've got my white cap mug. Alex also got this for me for Christmas, just like the black mug from last week. This one was supposed to kind of look like our cat Bo, but Bo is gray and white, and this mug is only white because I guess there are no gray and white mugs. But this one's really fun. It's got one of those surprise animals on the inside. It's a black cat, so it's kind of like a second ninja mug. Just saying. I am really excited to be sitting down and filming this right now. I have the brand new Charlotte Tilbury Charlotte's Beautiful Skin Foundation. It's got some kind of insane name. Like when you look it up on the Sephora website, it's the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Medium Coverage Light Foundation with Hyaluronic Acid. She always has the longest, most inconvenient names. I just don't understand. My shade 2N came back in stock very briefly, so I am definitely happy that I picked it up when I did because it is out of stock again now as I'm checking the app. So just looking at the packaging, skin looks more radiant by up to 285%, long-lasting and pollution defense. How do you know if something's boosted your radiance by 285%? That just seems like a really specific amount. But that's fine. Comes in this tube. It's different than the other products that I've tried from her. So like the Hollywood Flawless filter comes in that glass bottle. The Airbrush Flawless filter comes in the glass bottle. So it just seems interesting that she went with the tube packaging for this one. I guess while we're here, I'll just touch on the basics real quick. So the foundation retails for $44. You get 1 fluid ounce, which is pretty standard for a foundation. I've noticed that a lot of her products are becoming more refillable, and I was kind of hoping there was going to be a way to refill this one, but I didn't see that that is an option. There are 30 shades in this range that go from very fair to very deep. But Charlotte Tilbury has a shade finder to match if you know what your foundation shade is in her other foundations. So I was too cool in the Airbrush Flawless foundation, and it recommended that I pick up to neutral, which is what I did, so hopefully it is a good shade match. It's also medium buildable coverage with a natural finish, and it's supposed to wear for up to 16 hours, and it is hydrating and good for all skin types. I'm going to insert some swatches here so you can see what the shade 2N looks like compared to some other foundations. Charlotte's Beautiful Skin Foundation in the shade 2N. NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in the shade L2 Mont Blanc. Dior Forever Skin Glow in the shade 1CR. YSL New Bare Look Tint in the shade New 2. Tarte Hydroflex Serum Foundation in the shade 20N Light Neutral. Now that all of that's done, we can get into the applying part, which is my favorite part. I have been trying a lot of these skincare hybrid foundations the last couple of weeks, and I really have learned to prefer to apply them with my fingers, but this one seems to recommend using a brush, so I'm going to use a brush on one side and a sponge on the other half of my face, but I will be doing finger application tests later because I do really want to see how this applies with my fingers. I put out about 1.5 pumps, but it's a very thick feeling foundation. It's not as liquidy as I was kind of expecting. So I'm just gonna do a quick shade match. Actually, that looks like it's gonna be a pretty good match. Better than all the matches we've done so far, huh? Alright, well, I'm gonna just pick some up on my finger and dot that around 1/2 of my face. This doesn't seem to be as quick drying as the other foundations that I've been trying out. This looks like a lot that I'm patting in, but it's so thick. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now that I've pressed that around, I'm going to start blending it in. It said, what does it say? It says to pat out for coverage. Buff outwards from the center of the face across the cheek down the jawline for a natural, healthy looking finish. Here is what one half of my face looks like compared to the other after one layer of application. I still have a lot of this foundation left, so I think that's really nice that it did seem like I didn't use a lot of foundation to cover this half of my face. And I do think this is a pretty good medium coverage. There's some spots that I would still like more coverage, but I think for first layer of application and for being a skincare foundation hybrid, that this is really good coverage that I got right off the bat. Just dotting what I have left around my face. This one might actually blend out pretty well with the sponge because it's so thick. Okay, so here is what it looks like with the sponge and with the brush. And this was about 1.5 pumps of foundation total for everything on my face. I definitely got more of a natural finish on the brush side, and it's definitely more radiant or more luminous on the side where I used the sponge. The coverage levels are actually about the same, but that may just be because my problem areas are more so on the side where I used the brush, and I have less issues on the side that I use the sponge, so it may just be a little bit of a trick because my skin really only likes to be bad on the left side. I am just going to take a little bit more and try to build up coverage in a few areas, but not too much more. I don't want it to look heavy. I pumped out about 1/4 of a pump, and I'm actually going to work that into the brush instead of dotting it around. And I'm just gonna go over some of my red areas and some scarring. My breakouts are pretty much gone now. It's just the residual effects after them. It's set down. It's like completely touchable. Doesn't have like a powder finish, but it does feel like I am just touching my skin, but I am able to touch around my face and not get any kind of transfer or residue or fingerprints left in the foundation that I just applied. So I think we're off to a really good start. I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back to show you my final look. Here is the finished look. I have all of the makeup details listed down below in the description box if you are interested in any of the makeup that you see that I am wearing right now. I don't have any primers, setting sprays, powders, anything like that on my face, so that I can get a real feel for the foundation itself and see how the formula wears, what the finish looks like, you know, stuff like that. I didn't have any problems applying makeup on top of my foundation. It has set down completely. I don't feel anything. It doesn't feel like I have anything on at all in the places where it is just my foundation. I am really liking how it feels on my face. It's very lightweight. It's very comfortable. It doesn't feel tight. It's not stinging. There's no weirdness about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's no like weird, uncomfortable feelings. Everything is just very nice. I have no immediate critiques or no immediate problems with the foundation as it's wearing right now. I've zoomed you in so you can get a better look at how the foundation is wearing. I changed my background. I got rid of the Christmas background and I put my skincare fridge up again because I felt like we're in February. I should probably take down my Christmas decorations. Anyway, it is now 1 o'clock, which means that the foundation has been on for 7 hours, or just around 7 hours. I am filming this check-in in natural lighting in front of my window. I think in pretty good lighting that will show what the foundation is looking like, or most accurately shows how the foundation is wearing. I do notice that the side that I applied using the brush looks very flat. I tried to add a little bit more stuff on this side to make it less flat after I noticed that, and it did not work. I still feel like the brush side looks very flat, whereas the sponge side still looks very radiant. I feel like I have two very different sides of my face right now, which I think is really interesting. I can't remember the last time I noticed anything that drastically different between application methods besides like using your fingers or something, but between a brush and a sponge, I can't believe just the huge difference between the two sides. So I definitely think that if you were to pick up this foundation, a sponge is the best way to apply it. It looks very much like skin. It still feels very comfortable, very lightweight. I can touch my face without anything moving around it. I feel really good about how I'm looking. My pores are very blurred. My skin overall just looks very smooth. My mascara is flaking a little bit. But aside from some mascara flakes, which have nothing to do with the foundation, and a little bit of wear off around my nose, which kind of makes sense. I do touch my nose and blow my nose a lot. I have cat allergies and 3 cats. It's bound to happen. So I'm not upset about the nose wear off. That is very typical for me in my daily life, but my skin looks very smooth. My pores are very blurred. I don't know that the coverage stayed for as long as I would have wanted it to, so I think that setting powder or setting spray over my acne spots would probably be the way to go, because I noticed that I've lost a lot of coverage in those areas where I would like to keep coverage. But other than that, I think that everything looks really good, and after 7 hours of wear, this is pretty much exactly where I would like a foundation to be. It is past 6 o'clock, so the foundation's been on for over 12 hours, and honestly, I'm ready to take it off. Pretty much, it's because of the mascara. It's making my lids close, which is making me really sleepy, and I am ready to pass out, so I just want to take all of the makeup off. I do think that I could have worn the foundation itself longer. It does claim to be a 16-hour wear. I don't know that I necessarily agree that it is a 16-hour wear foundation. I've had it on for 12 hours, and I really like the way that it's looking, but I do notice that it is starting to fall off, or have some problem areas at the 12-hour mark, so I imagine by the 16-hour mark it would be worse. It's been a long time since I've had a foundation like this one where I liked it in the beginning, I liked it in the middle, and I like it at the end of the night. I have almost no critiques on this foundation. If I'm really picking for something to complain about or to point out, it's that the shade did change slightly. I'm not sure if I were to repurchase this foundation, if I would purchase it in 2N or if I would drop down to the lighter shade, just because I feel like when I put it on, it was a good shade match, and if the lighter one dries down to what the one that I'm wearing starts as, then that would be pretty much my perfect shade match. So if I'm looking for a critique, it would be that there's a slight color change, and maybe you might want to shade down. I've had a fantastic time wearing this today. I don't have pores. My shininess is completely under control, unlike, again, the Dior foundation, where I looked greasy 6 hours in. Here I am 12 hours in. I just took a bath, so the steam from the bath might be making it a little shiny. I may have gotten a little sweaty, maybe, but still I think that this looks way better than the greasy look that I had from the Dior foundation. Between both sides, I still like the way that the sponge looks more. I still feel like the brush side looks very flat, very non-dimensional. Even though everything is the same on both sides of my face, I just feel like the way that the brush applied the coverage really flattened everything out. I don't know another way to say it. It's very one-dimensional or non-dimensional. Maybe I have like an inverted face at this point. But the way that the sponge side looks with the radiance and all that, like that, just to me, this looks exactly like how I would want my foundation to look every day. I don't use filters or anything like that, so what you see texture-wise is exactly what my face looks like. There's no pores. They're completely blurred. My skin's completely smoothed over. There's obvious wear off around my nose. There's no creasing where my forehead lines are. No creasing where my smile lines are. There's wear off around my chin and around my breakouts. I do notice those little bumps though, and I'm hoping that it's just like skin irritation because I've been trying these new foundations all pretty much right in a row. So I'm hoping that it's something from like the Dior foundation that broke me out or something like that, because I would be really sad if it's the Charlotte Tilbury foundation that's giving me a reaction. My skin is smooth. I don't notice a huge amount of like breakdown. I did notice like up here where I'm getting a little bit shinier that when I touch around there, the foundation is now lifting off. But places down here that I'm touching, I don't see that. If you have similar preferences to me, or if you've gone off some of my other recommendations that have worked out for you, this may be something to really check out. I really had a good wear test. I'm really happy with how it's looking. I am looking forward to continuing to use this foundation. I have only positive things right now to say about it, and I'll give you my updated thoughts at the end of the month in my roundup video. Let me know, what do you think about this foundation? Is this one that you were planning on picking up? I know I've seen very mixed reviews on it, so I was definitely excited to try it out for myself and see how I feel, and I am very glad to be able to share that with you as well. Anyway, that is going to be all from me today. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I have one more foundation review coming before the end of the month roundup, so it'll be the NARS foundation, the Dior foundation, this foundation, and one more. And on the 25th, I will be posting the roundup of all of my thoughts for the last month testing these 4 foundations. Otherwise, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you again very soon in my next video.
Friday.